Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today it's release day over at the C&CT Stamp Shop. They have a brand new Holly Jolly release. It just came out. If you're interested in the entire release, I'll leave a link down below. If you guys want to do a little browsing, it's down below for you. But today I'm sharing with you a project using one of the items in the release. This is called the Outline Merry Christmas background stamp set. It's 6x6 stamp set. It's red rubber, and then it has a lot of outlined Merry Christmases on here, kind of overlapping and blending together. So we're going to use this to create a card today. I'm basically just going to use this as my focal point. I'm going to throw in a little bit of accent pieces, but we're going to just use this background stamp. I'm going to start off with white cardstock. We're going to make a landscape style card. I'm inking up my background stamp with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I made sure my panel was in my MISTI to where at least one of the Merry Christmases is centered on that panel, and you can kind of make it out here. But I'm going to go ahead and, while my ink's still wet, I'm going to add clear embossing powder, and then I'll set this panel aside, and then we're going to do another panel, but this time with black cardstock. The first one was white with black embossing. This one's going to be black cardstock with white embossing. So I'm making sure I treat my paper really well with my anti-static powder bag, and then this time I'm going to go over my stamp with my Versamark ink. We'll ink it up really good, and then we'll stamp this. And I'm stamping in the same position as my first panel. I think this looks good. We'll go ahead and take our white embossing powder and cover this panel, and then I did go ahead and stamp another panel with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. We're going to use that for our sentiment. So everything is melted. You can see all my panels here. We're going to set the two embossed ones aside, and I'm just kind of rubbing my black panel. I wanted it to be that real black and white, so just taking that powder away from there. Okay, I'm going to color in the Merry Christmas on this panel here with Copic markers. And I didn't leave the coloring in because basically I just used 3 different colors of reds and then 3 different colors of green, and I'm just filling in the Merry with the reds and then the Christmas with the greens, kind of creating a little bit of a gradient, and they are overlapping, so a little bit of shading helps with that. Now, as I was coloring, I guess I got a little carried away, because instead of just coloring the Merry, I colored in Mary's Christmas. So if any of you Marys are out there, this is your Christmas card. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually going to cut off that S. Okay, we are going to take the same green markers. I left the caps, I listed the cap numbers up on top for you, but I'm taking my green family, and then I'm doing a little bit of shading on some white cardstock. I wanted to bring in, you know what, I don't have a holly. I don't think I have a holly die set, so I'm going to use some pine needles, but I'm going to this is from Memory Box. I think I picked it up at C&CT Stamp, but it's the small wispy pine needles. I die cut those out with the ink colored cardstock, and then I fussy cut out the words Merry Christmas. My fussy cutting wasn't that great, so just to make it a little greater, I'm taking my black marker and going along the outside edges, so all the white on the edges and on the inside of the letters are covered up. It just looks cleaner that way, and since this is going to be in the very front of my card, I think that was a necessary step. Okay, I do have to punch out the hole in the A, and I think my crocodile will work perfectly for that, and then I'll just fill in the white area of the A there. So Merry Christmas is all ready to go. It's no longer Mary's Christmas. And I suppose Mary would be M-A-R-Y, but I'm just teasing you. But okay, now I'm going to pop up each one of my sentiments with some very small foam squares, and then I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and we're going to trim down both of these panels. I like a little bit of a white border on my card base. So basically what we're going to do with the black panel is we're going to trim about 1/4 inch off of it carefully, because I want it kind of centered for the most part. So I'm trimming about a 1/4 inch off of it. And then for the white one, I wanted to make it a little bit smaller. Now when I did this, I didn't realize that this would not be centered on my black panel. I wanted the letters to line up, so it's a little bit taller on top than it is on bottom. Well, you'll see here in a minute. But I'm just going to create my card base. I trim my papers down to 8.5 by 4 1/4 inch sheets, and then I have a little cubby that I keep them in. So if I need to make a card base out of them, all I have to do is score at the 5.5 inch mark. Okay, we're going to adhere our black panel over our card base, and then we are going to take this panel. I'm going to use some foam tape. We're going to add this behind our white panel, add a little bit of dimension, and then we'll just remove the release paper off of this, and then I'll add this over my black panel. And I'm lining up all the letters, so it's almost continuous, but you have the black and the white. Okay, and you can see the top wasn't centered exactly, but I think I can get away with this because the pine needles that I'm going to add is going to pull your eyes up, so it's not that noticeable. Well, you guys can let me know in the pictures. Okay, next we're going to add our Merry and our Christmas, and we're going to place these over the existing ones here. First our Merry and then our Christmas. Kind of looks animated. I kind of like this effect. Next I'll use some glue, and I'm going to create almost like a triangle with these little pine needles right next to the Merry. And we'll add one here. I'll add a little glue behind this one, and then we're creating kind of a V shape. So then when we add this one, we have 3 points. Okay, now I have these little itty bitty jingle bells in my stash. I've had them for a very long time. I don't know if I can find them, guys, but they're silver jingle bells. And then they have a little loopy on the end where you can thread them through something. Love these. I'll do a little search and see if I can find them for you. But I'm taking my black twine, I'm threading 3 of them through 3 of the little jingle, well, they don't jingle, they're just little bells that look like they're jingle bells. But I'm adding 3, and then I'm going to tie a knot, and then I'm going to tie a bow. And then this is going to go in the center of my little pine needles. I think if you had holly, it would be just as pretty. But I'll just kind of straighten out the loops of my bow, and then that's going to go in the center. I'll just set that down, and I'm going to go grab some glue dots, and we're going to pick up a couple and then just place them in the center of our pine needles, and then we'll add our little bells right over the top. The tails of our bow was still a little bit long, so I'm just going to use my scissors and we'll trim them off. Okay, now I thought we needed a little bit of red in that corner, so I'm going to bring in some red gems. I have lots of gems. I don't know where they're from, but you don't have to use gems. You could use enamel dots. You could use your Nouveau crystal drops if you wanted to, stickles, but I think the gems add a special touch, and I'm just adding 3, 1 larger one and 2 smaller ones, kind of going around my bells. And then last but not least, I'm going to add some of my Journey Glaze over the letters. Now, Journey Glaze is like glossy accents. It goes on a little bit cloudy, but it dries crystal clear. Kind of creates a very shiny look. Now, I lost footage. My camera went off and I didn't realize it, but I did add glitter to my Journey Glaze while my letters were still wet. So it kind of looks like icicles on the very top of my letters, you can see here. But that is my project for today. I encourage you guys to check out the Holly Jolly release over at the Simon Says Stamp Shop. If you're interested in my stamp set, the outline Merry Christmas background, I'll leave a link down below for you as well. But thanks so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.